This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Hey guys, this week I just want to take it easy and put some acrylic paint where it doesn't belong. I'm not doing this out here. I've actually been wanting to draw or paint on some clothing for a while now, so I would keep purchasing or finding items in my closet that would be a good candidate for my dark ritual. So I would wear them for a day or so to see if I liked them as they were, or if I wanted to paint on them. And each time the answer came up, yeah, I kind of like it the way it is. I wanted to draw on these pants, but I ended up liking them, and now they're just good pants. Last time I did this, I made an entirely new corset just so I could paint on it. But this time, it's gonna be different. I will find a canvas to imprint my artistic goals on. And do you wanna know how I know that? Because I've already done that part. It's sitting over there, I can actually see it. So now that we have our polyester canvas, let's figure out what I want to put on here. And that's right, we do this by surrendering ourselves to the masses on Instagram. So as usual, I put up a little submission to ask people, what should I paint on this jacket? So let's see what the folks said. As usual, I got so many suggestions, so thank you so much for that, by the way. Just a classic garden of earthly delights. I believe that this is a Hieronymus Bosch painting, which I would undeniably wear on a jacket. Thank you, Kathleen. Feywild Trading Post said, a beholder, which is this guy. I feel like we're definitely moving in a definitive direction, and that direction is this jacket will make children cry if I wear it out in public. Haunted greenhouse. Moths, roses and glowing eyes. This one just says, it's perfect as it is, let this one go. I would, but it's happened too many times. No. This one, it's gonna get sacrificed to the acrylic paint. Eyes, cosmic and celestial things, evil clown. Someone just sent this image of a jacket that I actually have saved on my Pinterest of just a bunch of eyeballs. And I mean, that's definitely one of the inspirations for this project, I'm not gonna lie. This person said bats, but their body is an eyeball. So an eyeball with bat wings and angel stuff. The weird kind. Buffy. Imagine this. It's a perfectly normal jacket from the front, but then I turn around and it's just, you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar's face looking back at you. Spaghetti. Candles. Fire. That's another good contender. My goal really is to come into 2024 with the most violent Guy Fury energy. Yeah, fire. I feel like fire is a popular suggestion. Mystical moths. More flames. Can't explain it. But eyes? Hear me out. Walrus. I'm listening. Ghost/spirit energy, maybe wisps like blue and greenish flames. That's really cool. I wasn't picturing flames that were like any other color than basically red, but I like the other vibes, guys. Mothman. Fangs and eyes. Someone just sent a picture of this wet cat. I feel like you guys are really dialed into the kind of stuff that I like. Pedro. I mean, again, it's just you turn your back and instead of a normal jacket, it's flames, fire, so much fire. I feel like I definitely have to have fire involved in this whole situation. So I feel like we've reached a general consensus. Flames, a bunch of eyeballs, maybe some moths involved, which is a little bit of a challenging combination, but let's see if I can work some artistic magic. So here's the Pinterest board that I compiled based on all of the suggestions that you guys gave me. A lot of random stuff going on. We got some swords, we've got some flames, we've got some maximalist jackets because I thought that's the direction that I wanted to go in, and that is certainly the place my design started at. On this jacket, I really wanted to collage a bunch of different ideas together and make it really detailed and intricate and have a bunch of my favorite things that I love on it. The direction I was going in was very heavily inspired by these punk jackets I found that had kind of just doodles and collages all over them. However, for some reason, I was having a really difficult time coming up with a good combination of designs for mine. None of the compositions really looked right, none of the colors looked particularly good together, and at this point, I was kind of just a little stuck. I had a few ideas that did look good, but none of them encompassed all of the suggestions that I really wanted to use on this jacket. So obviously, finding a good direction for the design of this jacket was kicking my butt a little bit, and a big part of this is I have absolutely no concept of graphic design and despise simplicity, but I'm reluctantly working on my graphic design skills because it might help my creative growth, which is why I've been making my way through the learning path, Graphic Design Basics Start Exploring and Expressing, which is available through this video sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the world's largest online learning community where you can take creatively focused classes led by industry professionals on topics like painting, illustration, film and video, freelance, music, and so many more. A new year means you are free of the shame of graphic design blunders of the past. Now can be a great time to invest in yourself by using Skillshare to further your creative career, advance your hobbyist skills, start a new side hustle, or finally stop neglecting the gaping weak point in your artistic abilities. And if you want to dive into a broader concept concept like graphic design and don't know where to start, Skillshare recently launched Learning Paths, which are curated, sequential class collections that can help you master a specific skill. They're hand-picked, meant to be taken in order to build on your knowledge base, and are available in a range of difficulty to meet you where you are on your creative journey. There are learning paths for design, productivity, creative freelancing, on tools and software like Procreate and Blender, marketing, and a whole bunch more. I'm almost done with my graphic design learning path, and demystifying graphic design, how posters work with Ellen Lupton, actually made me feel an unexplainable sense of calm and familiarity with the concepts of graphic design. So if you want to try out one of the many wonderful classes on Skillshare or use learning paths alongside me to dive into a brand new subject, please, I need you by my side for moral support. Graphic design is not my passion. The first 500 people to use a link in my description will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. Thank you so much to Skillshare for conspiring with me on this video. Now let's see if future Kira ever figured out that jacket. So the short answer to that is basically no. So as usual with this project, I feel like I'm trying to do a little bit too much. I have cycled through so many ideas just over the past couple of days trying to like fit a bunch of the suggestions together and make them cohesive, because you know me, I'm a maximalist. I kind of also would like a maximalist jacket with like every facet of my personality on it, but I don't know how realistic that is while also trying to make it look good. And again, like, I've taken some graphic design classes. That doesn't mean I'm good at it. It feels a little risky, but at this point, I feel like I kind of just want to get into it and start drawing stuff on the jacket, see what sticks. I think in terms of ideas that I almost definitely want to go with, the flames and the eyeballs combination. That's kind of what I first started putting on here. I like that. I think that's pretty strong. I think if I get some foundations down of things that I think will look good, that I like, I can maybe add on to it from there. Part of DIY sometimes is taking a big old crazy chance. Isn't that part of the intrigue? Isn't that part of the journey? I think so. I'm gonna take a white pen that I don't even know if it'll sit on top of here, lay out some sketches, figure it out, and then I'll show you what I'm leaning towards and what I come up with. So here we have the start of some flames. It actually already looks super sick. You can't see the blue too well, but check that out. And on the back, haha. Okay, the flames were a good suggestion. I'm already feeling this. This jacket is making me live like my biker poser dreams, you know? Because the biker aesthetic's really cool, but I would never ride on a motorcycle. Even if you gave me like $100,000, too scared, won't do it. I think I'm gonna just keep rolling with the flames for now. What I might do is just like basically block in all the colors for these and then continue on from there and see if I think it needs anything else or what else it needs. Because so far, planning this out has made me maybe a little bit too precious with this project. I feel like maybe this is one of the few projects where my impulsiveness might pay off. I should probably just go in, see what works. So I'm gonna go do that, and when you see me again, both of my shoulders will be on fire. This probably goes without saying, but I wanted the design of the flames to be really graphic, kind of inspired by anime style flames. So I basically laid out the blocks of flame, color, and tiers. I had my base tier, which was red. That is the first layer blocked in. Now for the highlights. And then I would take my pen and draw a design within that tier. It would still generally follow the bigger shape, but with a little bit more variation. And then I filled in that second tier with orange and blue Posca pens. And a tiny wash of acrylic paint on top to make it a little bit more saturated. And then I drew out the border for the lightest ring of flames and filled the red side in with a bright yellow and filled the blue side in with a pure white. I also made sure to add some marks tapering out from the flame design just to make sure the fire looked like it was giving off a couple of embers. And there it is. I highly recommend trying this because it looks very cool. Allow me to pitch a couple of places that I think this design would also look cool in. Number 1, cowboy boots. What says I am a cowboy out in the hot desert sun? none more than a flaming cowboy boot. Number 2, bottom of pants. That way, if you happen to be lying to someone that day and they try to accuse you of your pants being on fire, you can be like, yeah, Brenda, they are on fire. What's your point? Number 3, bottom of toilet bowl. I don't really have much clever to say about this one other than like toilet bowls have gotten really boring over the past, I don't know, 200 years, and they could really use an update. Finally, you can make a full outfit of flaming garments like I did for my new GTA character. He is inspired by flaming hot Cheetos, and I'm very proud of him. So, I finished the shoulder flames on the jacket last night, and oh girl. You guys on Instagram who sent me ideas for like red and blue flames, you guys were onto something, because I absolutely love this so far. I feel like this look is missing like a cowboy hat. Like imagine this. Cowboy hat. But at this point, my maximalist brain is like, what else does it need? I don't know if I have it in me to just leave it at this. So at the very least, I'm thinking one more thing that I want to do to this is maybe have the flames kind of creep up from the bottom of both sleeves as well. I think that would be really cool. But other than that, I'm trying to decide if I want to leave the motif just to flames, because you did send in a lot of really good ideas. I'm still playing around with the idea of maybe adding some eyeballs in there to the flames. I don't know, would it mess up the vibe or would it just accentuate the eccentricities of my beautiful flame jacket? I don't know. I am really looking for a statement piece here, so I think I'm gonna play it by ear or play it by eyeball. Finish the flames on the sleeves and then see if it needs anything else, which it might. You know what? I thought it was time that I put indecisive Kira in her place, so I decided to do an eyeball test. I just drew a little eyeball on the back of the jacket where I could maybe easily cover it up if I had to. And I thought it looked pretty good. Eyeball jacket confirmed. It's gonna get some eyeballs. Also, a little note. Some of you might have noticed that I have not used fabric medium in this process because I was like, it's plastic. Like the material of this jacket is, hold on, let's find it. 100% polyurethane. Isn't that like what they used to build some of the bigatures on the set of Lord of the Rings? So I figured if I started mixing too much liquid in with that, it would just take so many layers to get it to be opaque. Because that's usually my experience with using fabric medium. I kind of just hate it. However, since I did make that decision thinking, okay, maybe it'll be alright because this is a very kind of flexible type of faux leather, I was hoping that that would kind of decrease the risk of this cracking, but I was like totally wrong. And a couple of places where there's like more layers of paint, it has already started cracking. And I don't know exactly how to deal with that. That is a problem for future Kira. I might use fabric medium on the sleeve parts or something like that. I wasn't trying to be completely negligent by choosing not to use fabric medium. It was a decisive choice because I didn't think it would work, but now, I mean, this jacket is a little bit crusty. I really hope this project doesn't blow up in my face. There you go. Another combustible joke for you. So as I'm working on these sleeves, I thought that we could have a little conversation about what I've been wearing recently and how the eclectic nature of my style is causing me some problems. I'm sure that you guys kind of saw this reflected whenever I was actually trying to like thumbnail designs for this jacket and come up with something good, but everything that I like and everything that I like to wear is just so all over the place, and it doesn't really go together in terms of, you know, compiling a cohesive aesthetic, and that, you know, makes it difficult to come up with things to wear and things to design like this that reflect the full nature of what my personal style is. I'm kind of being forced to, just by nature of like coming up with something that's not too insane, pick a really decisive direction for the design of this jacket. And I was really hoping that I would be able to come up with something this week that was a little bit more like all over the place, that reflected different aspects of my personality. And while I think this does reflect like maybe a couple different aspects of my personality, it really does incorporate the fantasy side of that, the more like nature loving side of that. Like at the end of the day, this jacket is probably just going to be flames and eyeballs together, which is great. I think it's really cool, but it definitely, like, it's not everything. and I wish it was. Some of this is definitely just me coming up against some of my limitations as a designer. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to improve graphic design so that I can maybe simplify and like have multiple concepts going on at once and still functioning, because I really break it down into color and shape language and make it really distinctive and targeted, even though it is multiple concepts. I think if I really hone that side of my abilities, I'll be able to look at the shapes and the little details of different concepts, like for instance, a moth, and design it alongside things like flames or teeth or a dagger, and bring out all the similarities in a way that complements all of those elements together. Mayoko's clothing line, I think, does this very well and has definitely been a big source of inspiration for the more graphical side of my art, this particular project included. I think my other limitation is, of course, time. Iteration is such a big part of the design process, and I just feel like I never have enough time to do it as much as I should in a way that's the most effective, just because YouTube time constraints can be so very tight. But that is a longer term goal of mine this year. I'm gonna try to start designing things pretty far in advance, ahead of time. I definitely did that with a couple of pieces that I made a while back. That way I just have enough time to really iterate on them and get them to the point where they're exactly what I want to make, and I have put enough thought into it. That's my biggest complaint creatively right now. Just the amount of time that it takes to actually put proper thought into things really does not work well with a weekly YouTube upload schedule. It just doesn't. And especially this year, just by the nature of the kind of things I want to start making. Like I was saying, I want to start bringing disparate parts of my personality together into like one garment or one piece of art, and to be able to do that in a way that visually makes sense is just going to require more planning than a lot of the stuff that I've made in the past. All the complaining aside, this project was very, very fun. Doing stuff like this is a lot more light and breezy than the kind of art that I usually make, so I would love to do this again, maybe with multiple garments, and maybe experiment with different concepts on each, because as I was doing this and messing around with all of the designs earlier in the video, I was getting so many cool ideas. So I did start blocking in a red eyeball here, but I think I'm gonna keep going with this contrast theme and do blue eyeballs over here and then red eyeballs over here. I think that'll look cool. But I could only do one jacket this week, so they're just floating around in the noggin, waiting to be used later on. So maybe I can do this again at a later date once I figure out how to prevent my paint from cracking. And I could even sell or do giveaways on the jackets that I create, because I can really only use so many jackets personally. I don't need like 3 additional jackets. It also wouldn't have to be exclusively jackets. It would be fun to do this with a bunch of different types of garments, maybe even ones that I physically make myself, maybe even more corsets. Let me know if that's something that you're at all interested in, because I'm definitely interested in making it. So I know this was a little bit of a shorter video this week, but I feel like this is pretty much all this jacket needs. For once, incredibly enough, I am choosing not exactly maximalism, still a little bit maximalism, but I definitely kind of chose a theme and went with it. I am very happy with how this came out, so let me show you what it looks like on. Again, I know this was a shorter video this week, but I've been wanting to paint on a garment for a while just to like figure out what I could do, and I really enjoyed doing this. I don't know, something about flames and eyeballs just really hits that. I don't know what area of my brain it hits. It's really strange. I acknowledge that fully, but I like it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I'm gonna have like a slightly bigger project for you next week, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, the biggest thank you for this video and all of my videos, well, first of all, it goes to my Instagram audience for continually giving me ideas whenever I ask you for them. Thank you very much. But most of all, goes to my wonderful patrons and especially my executive producers. We have one of them right now. The primary executive producer says hi. She's been hanging out with me while I paint this mostly on my lap, but she's been so cozy that I guess she didn't feel like saying hi, but thank you for your patronage. Seno Takai, I'm not saying that name on the internet. ABW Makes, Bellfire 1053, Samalama MC Samabama, Sarah, Crimson Moon 04, Liana, Ermlargene, Anubix, Frieza, Sony, Brian, Phoenix, Rose Draconi, Freedom and Gusgus, Francesca Sliwa, Kat, Dodo, Zyle S, The Cat Spark, Agent.Sketchy, Bea Maia, Lovisa, Eloquent Silence, Megan Penland, Enozine, India Gloom, Hypnos, Katie, Sweet Winter Garden, Gravity Drop, I Hang Out with Cats at Parties, and Bean the Bread. Can you send us off with some purrs, please? Those were some good purrs, thank you.
Another unscripted snow sequence.